There's a suggestion via Discord, guys. Go ahead and check this out immediately. Expect this to be intriguing.
So what happened last night? Anybody do anything interesting? Okay. The 2024 presidential race ended yesterday.
Right.
And this is what the country and the world woke up to this morning. Take a look.
This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly.
Desperately.
We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
So, how you feel?
I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead.
My takeaway is that the system works. We live in a democracy. People spoke. This is what people wanted. I vehemently disagree with the decision that Americans made.
Expected.
But I feel very, very hopeful that we have a democratic system in this country. We should value it. We should love it. We should protest if the situation arises that we need to protest, which I'm sure it will. And I've been through this before with Nixon. It's been very difficult. But boy, oh boy, do we have a country if we can keep it.
Yeah.
Well,
All right. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I expected Joy to say some off-the-wall things. She didn't. I respect it. Keep it civil. I truthfully don't care who you vote for, bro. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care at all. It's not going to affect how I treat you in person under any circumstance. Keep it civil. All right? I respect that. I didn't expect it, but I respect it. All right? Let's continue.
Well, echoing the sentiments, Joy, one of the first thing I wanted to say for anyone that needs an example of when the person you voted for does not win, you do not say the system must be broken or that it was rigged. You say it is what it is, and you show up anyway. And I want to commend all those people that voted, because you sometimes hear people say, well, it didn't matter. No, it did matter. That was still your currency. That was still your power. And people turned out. Now, if you didn't vote, you really don't have a say in the conversation, so you can go ahead and sit down. But for the rest of you, and then a lot of what...
I want to point out something interesting about what she just said here. Incredibly intriguing, right? But you have to make sure you actually vote for your own specific interest, right? And I think that's where people, they get into like groupthink, and that groupthink is absolutely trash. This is what is leaving us currently in like a two-party system. If we do want to not having, to stop having to vote for the lesser of two evils, right? The smartest thing to do is to vote for your specific interest. Then you'll start to realize that multiple other things may start to actually open up for you, right? Just a thought here, but this show here basically only represents egalitarianism and groupthink.
I think about is what I always tell my kids when things go on. You feel what you feel. Everyone has different emotions. Some people got what they wanted. A lot of people didn't. And
actually, more people got what they wanted based off of well, I see what you did there.
Feel anything that comes up, and then you turn around and you say, let's look at the tapes. Let's see what we did. Let's see how we continue to fight for the people that we care about. And you take one step in front of the other. And so here we are today, and I still feel that optimistic because I feel arm in arm with so many people who agree with me, and I'm not going to stop marching. So
I like this pep talk, Coach Haynes. Listen, is it the outcome I wanted? No, but we live in a democracy. I have my vote. Right. Millions of people cast their votes did. And what's important to me is this. Tens of millions of Americans, our friends, our neighbors, our family members, voted for Donald Trump. We disagree with him. I know we all do at this table, but they are good, decent people who are patriots and love this country. And I can't speak to what drove them to the conclusion of being with him, but I think it is a moment for us to listen to each other, to hear each other, express what our concerns are. I've spent the last 4 years doing that, and also listen to people who are with him, because this is a country that there is truly more that unites us than divides us. I know it doesn't feel like that for many people in this moment, but we need to bring down the temperature, the name calling, the demonizing. Let the other side, if they want to do that, they can do it. But I think it is a moment to listen to the voters. And this, I have to say, I've always thought he could win. I thought in the final stretch she might eke it out. I didn't expect it to be this resounding, and I think there are some lessons from it. I think we forget about rural
You're not going to learn any of the lessons.
America. I think the working class feels left behind. They feel like
it's a lot
the
more than what
powerful,
she's
the
saying.
elite only care about them and their power. And he spoke to them. We may not have liked his words, but they turned out for him. I mean, the map was, it was beyond Reagan what we saw last night. And I think we need to start listening more about the concerns of everyday Americans who feel like this system is failing.
Yeah, you won't though. You won't though, because the problem with the Democrat Party, modern day at least, right, is the ideologies. You're attempting to basically put ideologies that the overwhelming majority of the United States of America do not care about, because you're attempting to put 1 or 2% of people above the other 98% of people. Okay, so when that happens, what are you actually expecting here? Right, you want people to load out their votes. Remember what I said earlier. Your vote is your vote. You vote for who has the ability to directly affect you specifically. And if 1 or 2% of people, right, you're putting them as basically the top, you're throwing away the other 98% of people who literally don't live these lives and don't care about living these lives. Okay. And so with that dilemma being pretty glaring and in your face, how can you make an assumption that you need to pay more attention to people? You need to pay more attention to the ideologies that you're generally pushing. Your party pushes consistently. All men are basically toxic. Remember? Did you forget that fast? That's crazy.
I remember the whole map was red.
Yeah.
It was pretty red last night.
That should tell you something.
I'm profoundly disturbed. I think if you look at the New York Times this morning, the headline was "America makes a perilous choice." I think that in 2016, we didn't know what we would get from a Trump administration, but we know now. And we know now that he will have almost unfettered power. And so I worry, not about myself, actually. I don't worry about my station in life. I worry about the working class. I worry about my mother, a retired teacher. I worry about our elderly and their Social Security and their Medicare. I worry about my
SS is bankrupt.
Children's future, especially my daughter, who now has less rights than I have. And I remember my father telling me many, many years ago that I was the first person in his family to enjoy full civil rights. And now I have less civil rights than I had when he told me that.
What are you talking about?
So again, I'm profoundly
Deleting babies? Can she even? Never mind.
disturbed that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution did not prevent someone who participated in an insurrection from becoming president of the United States. I think that going forward, the convicted felon box on employment applications better be taken off.
I will say, though, I fully 100% agree with this statement. This one right here. Like, this is the logical extreme, okay? And I think that in court, that'll actually be a valid argument, to be honest. How can you say people can't live in certain places? How can you also say that people cannot accept any type of government assistance? How can you say you cannot have this job because you're a felon if the president is a felon? All right. So we need to figure out some things now. Going forward, things are gonna get interesting, specifically around that topic. That's very valid.
Because if you can be the president of the United States, then you should not be prevented from employment in this country.
That's valid.
I remember applying for my jobs as a federal prosecutor, and there was a box for convicted felons.
Well,
Yeah,
and
that
so
has to
that
go.
box better be taken off. And I think
I
our
agree.
healthcare system is now at risk. I think
No fluoride for anyone.
Yeah, economists have made clear that he's going to increase the debt by $7.75 trillion. I'm worried about mass deportation and internment camps, and I'm also worried about Elon Musk.
What exactly would you be worried about mass deportation? The problem here is that if individuals in like the 90 percentile are here under asylum and do not qualify for asylum, these individuals do not belong in this country. Now, if you are someone who actually you're valid underneath the asylum claim, then there's no issue here. Asylum, refugees. I've never in my life had a problem with that, right? But the problem is that you're now referring to economic migrants. Economic migrants should not be here. Their sole purpose here is to siphon money and then give money back to people that are in the other country that they came from via remittance. Okay, and this actually shows up on countries' GDPs. Okay, so what you're saying is one thing. Right. But the truth of the matter is the opposite. OK, if they came in an illegal manner, OK, not through any type of port of entry, they didn't, fill out all the documentation. OK, they didn't wait to come, etc. All the things that you do when you immigrate to a country. Bro, I've immigrated to multiple countries. You just don't go there. OK, we're the only ones that accept it. Why? But either way, let's continue. OK.
I'm worried about mass deportation and internment camps, and I'm also worried about Elon Musk warning Americans to prepare for temporary hardship. I'm surprised at the result, but I'm not surprised. As a woman of color, I was so hopeful that a mixed-race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected president of this country. And I think...
What does that have to do with a single thing? What does she represent? What were the things that were coming out of her mouth? These are much more important than you telling me what demographic she's in. What did she represent? What did she represent? And how did that benefit the overwhelming masses? The overwhelming masses are not deleting baby for sport, bro. Overwhelming. And like the 1% issue of people who are like, who are being forcefully, all these, you get what I'm saying here. That is not the 99%. So you're basically persecuting the 99% of fetuses.
I think that it
over
had
1%
of
instances.
I think this was a referendum of cultural resentment in this country.
Well, I think it. I think it has to do with a lot of things. That being one of them. I'm obviously very disappointed.
Obviously,
I'm very sad.
She was the one that hates men, right? To recall, she's the one that just hates men. Right, she had a video and it was floating around the internet. I hate men. Okay.
At the Kamala Harris headquarters yesterday in Washington.
I would expect you to be there, actually.
It was a very sad scene. The mood turned immediately. And I tell you, there's a quote I get a lot of inspiration from, and it's a quote that I read when I was reading about John F. Kennedy. And it says, "Whether I am on the winning or the losing side is not the point with me. It is being on the side where my sympathies lie that matters." And that to me brought me consolation and inspiration this morning, because I have no regrets. Yep. I worked hard as hell to elect the first Black Asian woman president. History slipped through our fingers again. I worked hard as hell for Donald Trump not to be president. But today, unlike Donald Trump and his
I get that. You don't like men.
Followers, I acknowledge that he won. I hope for the best for
Bro, stop
our
talking.
country.
Next
and I
person.
make a commitment to our LGBTQ, to our immigrants, to our elderly, to our young girls, to the women, that we will not stop fighting.
Yeah, it's all the girls, the women exclusively. That's her ideology. And that's basically all we hear from the Democrat Party. So how are you expecting people to care about what you're saying?
We can be sad.
You're completely excluding us and saying that us in fact just existing as men are toxic.
Today, today we can be sad. Tomorrow we stand up and we continue. We have every right as Americans, because we love this country, because this is the most exceptional country in the world, we have the right and the duty to speak up and denounce abuses of power, to be vigilant. And so I invite all Americans to do it. But we are doing what they didn't do. We are recognizing they won. Yep. Now let's see what happens when he is governing.
So, you look. We said to people, vote. We didn't tell people who to vote for.
Right.
We just said go out. Well, yes, but I did not.
Yeah, I did.
Because I wanted to make sure people exercise that right. Too many people that I know died trying to vote.
Yeah, right.
Okay? So we start with that. And think about this. She did this in 2 months.
Yeah, I know.
She did this in 2 months.
There are two parties that basically matter in the United States of America. It's either this or this. Okay, so when the head of this party, right, leaves, they're all going to go to there. Like, it's the same thing. Like, that's not really like much of an achievement here.
The state of democracy was the top issue to voters overall. So that says that they voted for a guy who wanted to overthrow the election, who also said he would be a dictator on day one. And they also said that democracy was number one. So I'm concluding that maybe they don't believe him.
But I think
No,
that
it's
means
a
I think it
Rorschach
means
test.
different
What is
things.
different?
I
What?
think democracy means different things
It means a different
to different
thing.
people.
Well, when we were trying to overthrow a legitimate election and you say you're going to be a dictator, I don't know how you interpret that any other
As a
way,
democracy.
frankly. So I can only conclude that they don't believe he's going to do that. And I hope they're right. I hope that they are right.
Oh, The View, guys. I don't like this show. I don't know what it is. Well, I do know what it is. I just don't agree with any of them, generally, consistently. It's all just like groupthink. Let's all talk about things that just basically don't matter, or they matter to a good amount of Americans, obviously. Yes, so I don't want to go ahead and just straight dismiss the thought, at least, because it does matter to a subgroup, or just a subgroup of Americans. It does, but that subgroup just happens to be basically half the country. Like, we're definitely in interesting times here, right? We're looking most likely towards some type of like gigantic ideology shift, because these people here are not going to change their mind, and the other side, the right, is also, they're not going to change their mind. So we're sitting here like this, all right. Crazily. But eventually, hopefully we can actually come to terms and get over this nonsense. You guys sent me like 30 videos today. Okay. All right. Like 30 of these type of videos, guys. And we're not doing all these videos. We're not, too many. They're basically all the same thing. All the same thing. We just basically need to move on from this. Like, I'm gonna tell you guys a story real quick. If you guys are here, write the word lighter in the comment if you guys are here still. But so I lost. Hold on. So what's interesting about today is I lost basically a family member today, and I was just like, huh. So me personally, again, I'm a single issue voter. Period. I vote almost exclusively for taxes. I do not like how much money I pay in taxes. I don't enjoy it. Well, no one really enjoys it, obviously, but it's a crazy amount of money, and it's just like, why am I paying that much money in taxes when I'm only in the United States of America half the year, or sometimes less than half the year. I spend more time in Europe than I do in the United States of America. So why am I paying so much money in taxes in a place where I live less time in? Okay, so that's a thing that affects me negatively. Okay. And I also own a company, filed through S Corp, so corporation, right? And it's just like, bro, I'm not going to, under any circumstance, vote for someone who's going to raise my very specific tax bracket. And that was Kamala Harris. Every single time she said the number she said, that's my tax bracket. So I'm just like, oh my God. Okay, so that was going to be a no from the beginning. All right. Also, in the United States of America, I shoot guns a lot. Right. I'm always at the range. I'm target shooting, et cetera, et cetera. I own a lot of guns. And so I went, on Facebook today, woke up, saw what happened, and I was just like, boom, American flag, and what I say, bro? Lower corporate taxes and guns with like a green check mark saying, yes, check, we got it, right? But I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that a family member of mine immediately commented and was like, you're a fool, right? You have a foreign wife, right? I hope she gets deported. First of all, that's not a thing, okay? That's just not a thing. We're landowners. She's on all documentation, etc. Everything is good. That's not a thing. We are completely 100% legal around here, guys. All right, 100%. I immigrated into Europe. She immigrated into the United States of America, so we can spend time in both places. We've been doing this for the last 9 years, so that's a thing. But my family member is just completely angry. I'm a fool. I'm basically an idiot. She blocks me on Facebook. Keep this in mind. She is very close to me. Okay, so I'm just like, huh? I'm thoroughly confused. Are you mad because your candidate didn't win or something, bro? I guess not. I mean, it's not that serious like that. I expect for people to have different opinions. We're not copies of each other. Okay. So my mother voted for Kamala Harris. That was a given to me, bro. Right. But I'm also someone, I'm not ever under any circumstance going to force or try to push something that will not affect you at all down your throat, bro. At all. I've said this all the time. Like, bro, if you do not own a house or a company, Kamala probably was your best bet. Probably. Most likely. Based off of those two things. But if you own a company, a corporation, and you're making a certain amount of money yearly, and you own a property or multiple properties, Trump was your best bet. That was it, bro. It was really that simple. If you are egalitarianism, minded, then Kamala is your best bet. Right? If you are meritocracy, meaning that I work hard, so I want to get paid for how I work, then Trump is your best bet. Right? I mean, it is what it is, bro. Like, do you want to share all of your money that you make? Kamala. Right? But if you work hard for your money and you want to be rewarded for that, right, then Trump. That's how that works. But either way, listen, guys. You guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I think The View, I just don't like The View, bro. I just don't like the show. There's nothing ever interesting about it. You're just openly like man-hating on your show consistently. But I guess that's acceptable in 2024. And then they are confused how men don't want to back their causes. But either way, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly.
Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.